Welcome back to another Meta Monday. Lately, a lot of players have written off Raging Bolt from being a real meta deck, but today I want to prove to you that it's still a meta monster when built the right way. Now, this Raging Bolt list actually took second place in a tournament online back in December, and I wanted to put it through its paces myself and see if it still holds up in the current format. Now, this is a Turbo Raging Bolt list focused on taking fast explosive knockouts using Raging Bolt's second attack, which discards energy from your field to deal 70 damage for each energy discarded. Now, most of the list is pretty standard for a Turbo Bolt list, but there are a couple key inclusions that really push the deck over the edge. Now, we are running Sandy Shocks, which lets you attach a fighting energy from your discard pile to itself each turn. We're also running Energy Switch, a total 4 copies of, which you can combo with Sandy Shocks or Sada's Vitality, letting you instantly power up your Raging Bolt and start swinging right away after one gets knocked out. Now, this combination gives the deck a ton of speed and flexibility, letting you pressure your opponent from turn 1 or 2 almost always. Now, if you want to try this list for yourself, the full deck list is in the description below. Now, let's jump straight into game number 1. Alright, so game number 1 is a meta matchup, and our hand in the beginning is really bad. We have triple energy plus a Crispin and double Sada, so we really need to see an ancient Pokemon in order to be able to draw into other cards and hopefully be able to draw out of this situation. Now, as you see, our opponent is running Secret Box as their ace spec, and it is a Gholdengo list. So this is one of the 3 ace specs that they really like to play a lot, especially with the Solrock Lunatone engine. And this just adds more consistency for them and a little bit more flexibility as well. Now, in here, they are getting everything that they need. That way, then they can get as many gimme ghouls down as possible, along with being able to guarantee that we can't just take out or snipe anything real easily. Now, in here, they are going to use that Artisan as well. They will be ending with 3 gimme ghouls plus their rock engine. We top deck into a Teal mask, which is really nice. They did give us access to the Artisan as well, so we at least can put down the baby Raging Bolt, which does allow us to be able to draw 3 extra cards this turn too. But we're going to start off with the Teal Mask draw first. We do find a Sandy Shocks, and in order to do the draw 3 from the Sadas, we actually have to attach return to our Fez to retreat it, so that way then we actually have an energy in the discard to be able to attach to do the Sadas. Now, in here, we do draw into another Teal Mask. We also draw into a Nest Ball, which is real nice, and a Stretcher. So we're just going to pass the turn here. I don't want to give them access to any other Pokemon that they could bring up. Sandy Shocks does require them to have already taken 2 prizes at least before it can start attaching energy from the discard. That is the downside of that card, but its upside is just too strong for us to not want to play it. Now, here, they do have down the Genesect, and they are going to be firing off this Earthen Vessel. They don't need that much energy to be able to take a knockout on our Bolt. The thing that we are really worried about is if they had a Boss's Orders to get rid of our Fez or our Teal Mask, then we could actually be losing this game pretty easily, because then they'll be on a 2-2-2 path as far as prizing. But here, they are going to be forced to just take a single prize instead, which means that they will have to knock out at least 3 more Pokemon in order to win the game. Now, they could have just not attacked here, not letting us be able to draw 3 from the Fez, and making it a lot harder for us to actually take a knockout on a Gholdengo, forcing us to only take a single prize ourselves instead. But they do end up taking the knockout, so we are just going to fire off this Nest Ball. And we're most likely just going to grab a Raging Bolt here. We did top deck into another copy of Nest Ball, which is huge, because then we can actually get the Latias, which makes the count of energy that we need a little bit easier to achieve. We need a total of 4 energy for the knockout. We have the Crispin here as well, so we're just going to get a Grass and a Fighting, because we can attach that Fighting through Crispin's effect, be able to draw an extra card from this Teal Mask, and we already have the Lightning in hand, guaranteeing that we have the 4 energy that we need, and then we still have the Fez to draw as well. Now, we are also going to Stadium Bump, that way then they don't get an extra Gimme Ghoul down, and we can actually limit some of their draw power by doing this. Now, I can use this Earthen Vessel as well, and I am going to decide to do it just to thin the deck a little bit more, grab 2 more Grass Energy, And this lets us not only draw a card with the other Teal mask that we hadn't used yet, but also keep an energy on the field, making it a little bit easier to take another knockout next turn. Now here, I am debating about which energy I want to discard. I am going to go for the more aggressive approach of getting rid of the Fighting plus triple Grass. That way then we have a Lightning still on this Raging Bolt in case they can't take the knockout, but we still have another Lightning in hand too in case they do. We also have another Grass, so that way we can still draw into another card. We can hopefully use this Stretcher on another Grass in our discard, giving us 2 free energy like that, and then the Sada plus the energy that we already have in hand would be the 4 that we need anyway. Now in here, they are going to fire off this Superior Energy Retrieval. This is going to be able to get them back the energy that they have in their discard. That is 4 energy, which means that they are only doing 200 damage right now, but they still need to attach for turn to their Goldango, and then they would need 2 more energy to be able to do that 2500 to take the knockout on this Raging Bolt. But we are currently ahead in the prize trade because we're the ones that are able to do the 2 prize, 2 prize, 2 prize as our prize mapping, while they still have to take another two prizers plus a single prizer at the minimum. Now in here, they do have the energy to attach for turn, and they are going to make it rain, and now we're going to see, do they have the 5 energy that they need still to be able to take the knockout? They most likely do, and we do have the Ultra Ball to guarantee that we can get into a Raging Bolt anyway. That way then we can still use this Stretcher on another Grass, so no matter what they do, we will have another knockout this turn. We do top deck into another copy of Night Stretcher, so I am going to hold off on the Ultra Ball play. That way then we can save the Pal Pad and the Sadas that we'd have to discard to it for a later turn. Now in here, we are just going to use the Fez as well. We do find our Prime Catcher, which we can use on the following turn if we want to. That way then we can guarantee that we take another knockout on a 2 prizer in case they throw up a Lunatone or a Solrock trying to buy them an extra turn. Now here we are going to fire off this Ultra Ball. This allows me to thin the deck a little bit, and most importantly, it gets me another copy of Raging Bolt down. That way then when I use the Sada's Vitality, I can actually power up both of them, making it a little bit easier on my next turn. Now in here, we are going to fire off this Night Stretcher as well. This is going to get us back a Grass Energy, and we will be able to use the Teal Mask here to be able to draw an extra card, and then use the Sandy Shocks, get another energy on itself as well, and then attach for turn that Lightning Energy, throw up the Raging Bolt, and now we will be able to attack. We can technically do 420 damage, but we only need to do 280, so I'm going to discard all of the energy off of the active Raging Bolt, the one from the Sandy Shocks, and then one of the Grass Energy. This way, if they take a knockout on the active Raging Bolt, then we still have another Raging Bolt with a Lightning already attached to it, and we have a Teal Mask with a Grass Energy as well. And this makes it so that way then our Sadas that we have in our hand plus a Energy Switch that we have in our hand guarantees that we will have enough energy to be able to take a knockout no matter what. Now, our opponent is still going to try to play the game, see if there's any way that they can still get a knockout here, or potentially be able to guarantee that we don't get a knockout. But other than a Judge, I don't think that there's any disruption for our hand that they have, and even then, Judge would hurt them way more than us. So the writing is on the wall. They will attack, only doing 200 damage before conceding. So that is us winning game 1. Alright, so game number 2 is actually against a rogue deck that I've never seen before. So I really wanted to show this one as well. And as you see, they are playing a baby Koraidon, which does a ton of damage as long as you're running a bunch of ancient Pokemon, which our opponent is. Now in here, our hand is kind of bad. We could just use this Iono, that way then we can see some new cards, and that's what we decide to do. Crispin could have been good there too, but we don't have enough damage to actually take a knockout, so there was no real reason to do that. I'd rather see a couple more cards and set up for one more turn. Now in here, we are going to use that Ultra Ball to find that Teal Mask. This way we get another draw and get an energy on the field before passing the turn. We do have a Crispin in our hand as well, so we will be able to power up our Raging Bolt. And then with the Grass Energy that we have on the field already, we'll be able to do 210 damage, which is enough to take the knockout. Now in here, our opponent is playing down 2 copies of Sandy Shocks, and then you see their actual other attacker, which is the Koraidon EX. So this attacker is really strong. The only downside that it has is that it is a double fighting and fire for its main attack, which is its second attack that does 280 damage. Its first attack does a ton of damage as long as it has a lot of damage on itself, and that's the reason why they are running these ancient boosters to try to make it as bulky as possible. So here they do 120 damage to us, and we are going to be firing off this Crispin. I was debating about going into the baby Raging Bolt, and that could potentially be something that I could do. I am debating about if I should actually just play it down for turn as something that we can go into in a following turn, but I decide let's just do this attack. They can easily knock us out if they're able to do another Sada's plus attach return, but they're down to only 2 cards left in hand, so the chances of that are very low. Now in here, they do have a Nest Ball, so they do get into a Fez, so they're going to be able to draw 3 more cards, and they are going to fire off this Research first, that way then they see 7 more cards as well. Now they do find another Nest Ball, which gets them another copy of Baby Koraidon, but they won't be able to attack this turn, because they aren't going to be able to double attach. They don't have Sandy Shocks active just yet because we've only taken a single prize, so they are just going to use this turn to set up. They do discard a fire to that vessel, that way then they get 2 more energy to their hand. They do have another ancient booster that they can put on that Baby Koraidon, and they will be leaving the Koraidon EX in the active and passing the turn. Now, there isn't a chance that we really have right now of being able to knock out this Koraidon EX. That's what I really wish that we could have done, but because they didn't take a knockout or anything, we can't draw 3 from Fez, and the rest of our hand is really bad. So here we are going to fire off this Ultra Ball, and this is one of the times where I was wishing that I was running a copy of Mew EX, but I unfortunately am not, so I am just going to get a Sandy Shocks here, and then we have the Night Stretcher, so we can get back a Lightning Energy. Doesn't matter which energy we got as long as it's not the grass, because I don't want to draw just a single card. I'm actually just going to use Raging Bolt's first attack to discard my non-existent hand and draw 6 cards. This new hand is really strong. We do have a copy of Crispin in our hand. We also have a Energy Switch and a Superior Energy Retrieval. So all good cards that we can use next turn to hopefully take a big knockout. And here our opponent is going to use a switch. They did power up a Koraidon, the baby one. So they will be able to take a knockout with a single prizer, taking 2 prizes themselves. But now our Sandy Shocks will be online as well, so we can get an extra energy from that. Now, Fez is going to draw us 3 cards first, that way then we can see a couple more. We find a Nest Ball, which is nice. We could use that to get down a Latias if we want. One of the other issues that we have in this matchup is they have a ton of fighting types, and we have a Fez on the field, and we're not running any copies of Turo, so we can't get that off the field either, but we have been needing to use it in order to draw into better cards. Here, I am going to do the Sada's Vitality, that way then we can see a couple more cards. I still have a Fighting to attach return, and I do have the Sandy Shocks, which is going to attach a Fighting as well. Now, I am going to fire off this Earthen Vessel. This is going to allow me to thin my hand a little bit more, and get me 2 more Grass Energy. That way then I can use this other Nest Ball, get another copy of Teal Mass down. This is going to be able to draw me 2 more cards, which is really nice here. And more importantly, this is going to keep some more energy on my field, because most likely they will be taking a huge knockout next turn using that Koraidon EX. So I want to try to guarantee that I have enough energy to be able to take the knockout in response. Now in here, we are going to be discarding from our active the Lightning Energy, and then be able to discard the energy from the Sandy and the energy that we put on the other bolt, which was the Grass Energy. That way then we're still doing the 210, and if for some reason they can't take the knockout, then we do have a energy already on the bolt, so that way then all we'd have to do is attach return, and then we could also use this Crispin to be able to guarantee enough damage to be able to take that knockout. Now in here, they are just going into another copy of Koraidon with another Nest Ball. They do have the energy to attach for turns, so they will be able to take that knockout, and they will be doing that right away. Something else to be worried about is the fact that they have double Sandy Shocks with a Fighting Energy still on both of them, meaning that they can just use the Sandy Shocks ability next turn, be able to attach a Fighting from their discard to it, and then if they have a attach for turn, along with a boss's orders, then they can easily knock out our Fez for game. Now, looking back, I did make a big mistake with this turn. I used Crispin early when I should have just attached for turn. I had the Sandy Shocks that can be able to get that Fighting Energy back, plus an Energy Switch, guaranteeing that I could still attack with the Raging Bolt. But I needed to be able to try to draw into an Iono to try to limit their hand down to only 2 cards. That way then it would lessen the chance of them having like a Boss's Orders plus a attach return for game. And that's the mistake that I was really making here. I was more focused on just taking the knockout and hoping that they didn't have any way of actually knocking out my Raging Bolt. And in the heat of the moment, I wasn't really paying attention to their Sandy Shocks. I forgot that they were fighting types as well. And here, we are just going to take that knockout, get 2 prizes. We end up getting a Boss's Orders and a Nest Ball, which isn't going to be very helpful here. And here, they do throw up a Sandy Shocks. They have a Prime Catcher instead of Boss. That way, then they can bring up the Fez. But it doesn't matter because we weren't able to knock out either of those, and we weren't able to disrupt their hand. They are going to use that Sandy Shocks, be able to attach energy to both of their Sandy Shocks, and then draw 3 from Fez, before attaching an energy for turn, showing that they do have the knockout. They are going to put down another copy of Sandy Shocks, and then they do get a little scummy, stalling out the timer, and at this point, I'm just like, okay, well, you already win the game, and I concede. So here are my thoughts on Turbo Raging Bolt in the current format. I genuinely think Turbo Bolt is the best Raging Bolt variant right now, especially with Watchtower being everywhere. This version is extremely aggressive, a lot of fun to play, and it holds its own in a wide range of matchups right now. If you're looking for a competitive Raging Bolt deck that can end games quickly and still feels explosive to play, you absolutely need to try this Turbo Bolt list out for yourself. Now, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I post new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.